I'm Michael Dayton, and this is Dayton Outdoors. This is our first video on the channel. We'll be kind of talking and going over our recent Saskatchewan bear hunt and Matthew's first big game hunt other than whitetail, right?
Yeah, it was definitely a crazy experience. Recommend it to anybody who is able to or fortunate enough to get the opportunity to do it. It was kind of shocking. Honestly, I wasn't sure what to expect. Well, I watched a lot of videos and stuff, obviously.
Yeah, you did.
But it wasn't really real until we showed up, and then they're like, hey, let's get you out there. I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, and later on you'll get to see why that was so exciting. We got out there pretty quick, and didn't spend much time in the stand up there for our drive, which was about 30 hours there one way. So we got about 60 hours worth of driving in. It wasn't too bad, I wouldn't say. It was I did most of the driving because I like to drive. So on the way up there, we ended up stopping in Prairie Laporte, I believe.
Yeah.
Which is just outside Winnipeg. So got rested up and then went back on the way, but it's still a 10-hour drive after that. So
I think it was okay that we did that though, because like I said, once we showed up, they ended up pushing us out the door anyway. So to be resting at least a little bit for that was...
pushing through on, if we were to try to push through like we did on the way back, sleep would have probably been an issue. We might have been sleeping in the stand.
Ate up by the bears.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could fall asleep with it.
No.
Not that you should ever do that, but
no, definitely not. Always wear your safety harness.
That too.
But I mean, the only thing about the drive I would say that I didn't know about, at least like Manitoba and Canada, it's lower Manitoba, is how much all the farmland. Yeah, that was the crazy part of it, is it's all flat you could probably see 20 miles all the way around you. It's just flat as flat can be, with small patches of timber, and the amount of rain and flooding.
That was more North Dakota,
but
we saw a little bit.
I'm wondering if that one road was closed down because of flooding, though.
I mean, it looked like Canada had figured out how to do their farming.
Yeah.
And North Dakota was like, oh no, flooding.
Yeah.
Because they actually, like, their agriculture and their drainage and all that stuff, like, they had legit stuff set up in their ditches and stuff, and which kept a majority of their fields. But the amount of fields they have to work with there, I'm assuming, obviously, that's worth all the effort to get that drainage in there. It's insane how much farmland.
Yeah. And the wildlife, the amount of waterfowl. As somebody who's very new into waterfowl, I got a lot of practice in. I'm sure Matt was getting annoyed after the like 100th canvasback, blue-winged teal, mallard, just all sorts of waterfowl up there. It's really crazy. I would think in the future I'd like to try doing some waterfowl up there. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, if I'm gonna go that far, I'm gonna shoot a bear.
I understand that.
We saw some moose too.
Yep, we saw two moose on the way up.
Wolves too. I thought at first I wasn't sure about those when we first saw it, but the crazier thing was the tracks that you guys will see later in the video.
We'll put up a
the
picture.
Tracks are about the size of my hand. Those things are huge.
Yeah, and it looked like, and that was after we were done hunting. We were hanging out with our guide Perry. Speaking of which, where we went to was Hepburn Lake Lodge, is who we hunted with. It's family business outfits. Arlie and Darlene are the ones who kind of are the heads, and then their kids and family help out. They have a couple friends that help out too, and they just run a great establishment up there. It's actually my second time up there with them. I went up there in, was it 19, I believe. It's hard to remember with all the craziness going on. But I went up there with them. We'll see if I can find it. I did shoot a really nice black bear up there, about 475. I have a really crappy GoPro, but it's like one of those, not a GoPro, but a cheap action camera footage of it. So if I can find it, we'll put it in somewhere in here just to show. And then we'll have some pictures of that too, probably. But it is absolutely amazing up there, just being out away from everybody, and how quiet it is, and just beautiful. Everything. I mean, the terrain's amazing. It's just, if you want to get out and away from everyday life and technology and just the world a little bit, it's a great place to go.
It's definitely no service out there for sure.
No service.
Especially after you shoot your bear. And they're like, hey, shoot us a text, and then they give you a radio too. That
doing one of these, trying to get.
I mean, that's where the bears are, so it's definitely worth it. But as far as
high quality bears too, like our camp, we went with a couple of other guys. It was me and Matt, and then there's 4 other guys there. They were all real great. Everybody tagged out. Spoiler alert, I guess.
Not gonna see every bear in the video.
Yeah,
they weren't a part of our group, but they, by the end, it felt like it. They were really great people. Really great people.
We ended up staying in some campers near the cabin. It was really nice. We went into the cabin, ate some food there. That's where Arlene was cooking all the food and everything. She fed us really, really well, more than we could eat.
Yeah, that's for sure.
And always asking if we needed more. And we never were for wanting. So I guess I'll talk to Matt here and be a little bit of the interviewer. What was when we got up to camp, stepped out of the truck, Perry comes up to us and says, hey, you want to go bear hunting? How'd that feel?
Honestly, I wasn't really all that nervous on the ride up. I was more excited than anything, but to expect to go hunt on Monday and show up there Sunday midday and then step out and hear that.
They were worried about the weather, though.
Yeah,
it was supposed to be really bad Wednesday, which actually turned out to be beautiful. So
that's another awesome thing that they did, was they were trying to give us every opportunity. It was clearly not because they were business. They want all their people to get an opportunity. So being able to get up there and then them be like, hey, like, let's do this. My heart started pumping. I was like, oh shit, I was not ready for this. And got the bow out. Well, we unpacked and then I got the bow out, shot some. Wasn't my best shooting, but
no. Well, your last shot was. You were like, this is the arrow right here.
Yeah.
You were like, this is the one,
and it was. But but that's generally me on targets for whatever reason. I target panic, whatever you want to call it, get nervous. But when it comes down to hunting, obviously you guys will see as we post more videos. I like to think I'm a pretty solid shot when it comes to
Matthew. Don't let him. He is a very good shot. Like, it's when you see later on the video here, you'll see, and then if we get into some more stuff, he actually this buck right here, which we'll show you a picture of. He shot that with his first ever.
Yeah, I'm new to the bow.
New to the bow, like literally last season, first ever bow going up in the tree, and on his new property he just got that. We put a little hidey-hole food plot in here because he's really dense coverage, and he's surrounded by huge farm ag fields, so there's not really much we can do to draw them there except for get them out and to stop earlier before it's too dark out. So and he put a perfect shot on that double long heart shot. went, what do you think, maybe 80 yards
Oh,
after
yeah.
that, and he was like,
Well, when I called, I was like, I'm not sure about this shit.
yeah, he was like, I'm not sure about the shot. And then, so we played it safe. We backed out. We didn't go track because just we didn't want. He doesn't have a lot of property, so we didn't want to push it too far, and
We also
confident
have
enough in the shot.
Yeah. We also have other resources, which you guys may or may not see throughout.
Yeah,
our series,
our dad. Might as well just introduce him too, because I'm planning on putting some of his stuff up here. He's on Dayton deer tracking. He's got 3 dogs, two Bavarian mountain hounds,
and a Dachshund.
Yep, and then they're pretty much scent hounds. He tracks wounded game, typically whitetails. It's what they're mostly trained on right now. They do have the ability to train black bear, but we haven't. We're
kind of out of the area a little bit.
Yeah,
but
it'd be a travel.
Yeah. But we'll put that information below too, and we'll probably talk about it in another video. But I don't want to drag this one on.
No, that's
on
fine.
Something where we didn't end up using dogs, obviously. But yeah, the whole shooting thing. I'm new to the bow, so the confidence isn't necessarily there. But I do have quite a bit of experience for my age, I guess, because prior military, and I was a cop, so used to guns, used to shooting, practicing that kind of stuff. But the bow is definitely a new beast for me, and I actually quite enjoy it more than gun hunting itself. But I'll get more into that. We can talk about that another time too. But most of my hunting, I want to challenge and I want to use the bow. But yeah, it's kind of crazy. My first target, I was, like you said, I guess I could be confident with that last practice shot, which I stopped after that because I was like, I'm not gonna put my confidence in the pooper right there.
Don't want to get target panic,
or work myself up, especially for. I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
And then,
and
because it's different watching videos.
Yeah, no, it is. Like the one thing a lot of the videos don't show, and we're gonna show it, is how far back in the bush that you go. They put their baits. I can't speak for other places, obviously, but they put. We're back there. How many kilometers did he say? 17 kilometers at least.
After driving like an hour.
After driving an hour, random old logging roads.
Yeah.
And it's just crazy how far out there you are. And
there's no help.
No, definitely not. Don't want to.
You and your couple of arrows if you bring a bow.
Yep. So, yeah, and what did you think of? The ride in and stuff like that. You sat in the middle, so I got whipped by the willows a lot more.
Yeah, the actual. So, the car ride, I was like, when is this gonna end? And then we finally got to where we were going in, and then the ride back with the side by side, I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. Like, I expected to come up on like our.
It's really cool.
Like bait, like 5 minutes in.
Nope.
And we were pushing like. Over 20, and I was like, what the heck?
We're going through like small beaver ponds and willows. There was some parts that weren't too bad, but
and then some standing water that's up pretty high, but nothing that is more stuck in my mind than turning that corner to the bait pile.
Yes.
And there being there was 2 big bears that ran away.
Yeah,
and they were on the bait as we pulled up. And then I was like, hey, there's another one laying down.
Mm-hmm.
And he stood up, and I was like, holy crap, there's bears. This is real.
Yeah.
And it was just kind of, and then Perry just kept driving up, and I was like, what are we doing?
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to get this close to the bear. Oh my gosh. It was definitely I don't even really know how to describe the experience of that itself because it's just weird.
It is surreal. Even for me going up there before, I remember, I think 2 times we came up and we had, when I first went up, we had a bear on bear on the bait barrel, but nothing of that size and quality. But there was two very nice bears at the barrel when we pulled up, and I couldn't believe it. It was kind of wild. It was like, holy, and like that one running away, I was like, oh my goodness, that's a big bear. I mean, we spent a lot of hours watching videos and footage of bears trying to get to judge them properly. And again, judging bears is very hard. It's gonna take
Yeah, I didn't want to shoot the one I shot because I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
And then you were like, if you're not gonna shoot it, I'm gonna shoot it. And I was like, oh, so I should shoot this bear.
Yeah. And that'll get you'll see that in a little bit here. Or you've seen it already, depending on where I put this. But yeah, it was just really surreal. And then they had essentially we're in ladder stands, and we were in a 2-person ladder stand, which I thought was pretty comfortable actually. I mean, it wasn't
Other
huge.
than the day we forgot our cushions.
Yes, don't forget your cushions. Metal and sitting for, well, we didn't end up sitting that long, but sitting for 4 hours was challenging.
And I didn't even sit most of the time. I was standing, but every time I did sit, a bear showed up. So
that's true.
There's that. But yeah, no, ladder stands are pretty cool. That brings us to that one bear that wanted to come say hi. That was terrifying.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was definitely. I was
scared.
I was nervous, but it was like, Matt's got the bow. I'll be fine.
It literally like climbed up part of our ladder. We got footage of it, you guys will see, but as somebody who has
and speaking of which, before we get too far into this, I would like to apologize in advance for my being a novice filmer, and apparently my camera for some reason the sound got turned off. So fortunately though, for a lot of it we had GoPro going, and that was on whoever was shooting head, so it allowed us to get some volume and stuff like that. So but I messed up and didn't have that on the camera for whatever reason. I don't know why it was turned off, but it was.
I mean, we still got
the GoPro, thank God for that. I mean,
and that angle is still cool.
No, it is really cool.
And it picked up the audio and all that, so it's not a big deal. But we know for the future, like we said.
Oh yeah, it's
our first video, so we'll figure it out. But
yeah,
it was definitely crazy. We saw 8 the first night.
8 the first night, yeah. 8 different bears. It was. We had the 2 coming in, and then that one when Perry was baiting.
Walked right up, and I was like,
walking
hey,
right up
there, and Perry's like, yeah, I'm just gonna cut this up, and
and then after a bit with him kind of sitting there, and Perry's like, I'm just gonna leave. You guys got this. So he ended up leaving
because it was a decent sized bear, and he's like, if you want to shoot, especially with me being my first, he was like, hey, we'll get you an opportunity. So
yeah, it was a nice bear. We were thinking about shooting him. He was definitely would be a good bear for anybody, or especially for. So when we so that bear was coming up, and Perry left and got out of there. Then he went did he go straight to the barrel? I don't. Yeah, he went right to the barrel.
He wasn't very shy at all.
No, he wasn't. Then we had a couple of smaller bears that were definitely smaller than he was coming.
I wasn't really interested in that.
Yeah.
I mean, it was fun to watch, but after seeing what we saw, I wanted one specific bear, and that was the one that ran away.
Yep. So. The big butt bear as it ran away. I mean, and then we were in the stand for, what was it?
I think it was because I shot at 6:30.
Yeah, it was 2 hours, but I mean, we were only sitting in the stand for an hour and a half, and then Matt's bear came in.
Yeah, I didn't watch it for like ever.
We watched it for like 28 minutes. He's laid down at the barrel.
I was about to have a heart attack because my heart was pounding.
See, and but yeah, he. I saw him. I think I saw him first, right? Yeah, I saw him way in the back, and he was because you'll see in the footage, it kind of looks like a park and everything like that. It's really nice, actually. It's gorgeous. But he came from the back, made his way to to our right, to the left of the barrel, his side, I guess, and then made it when it went right to the barrel. And then as soon as I saw him, I knew he was a great bear. I mean, high quality, perfect bear, really. And then what I should have did is I should have told him to stand up before, but I guess I don't know if that was good or not, because Matt was still sitting, and we wait for him to turn around and face the barrel, and then Matt stood up, and then we were able to get things rolling, and he just laid there.
Yeah,
and laid there.
Yeah.
But we skipped, but there was a smaller bear. That one bear that came up to the base of the tree, went back to the barrel, and then left.
Yeah.
And then we're like, why'd that bear leave? And I was like, there's probably a bigger bear in the area. So, and then I just looked back there, and he was coming. So when the more dominant bear is in the area, whether it's a boar or sow, they tend to scare the smaller or the subordinate bears off, in my experience anyways. But yeah, he came up like he owned the place. So, and then what was your thought process? What were you going through your mind before you were making the shot?
Honestly, I don't remember much. As weird as that sounds, but watching him at the barrel, and then I was really fixated on the one bear, to be honest. So maybe that's why I wasn't too excited on this. Well, I was very excited, but I wasn't super nervous, because I was like, oh, I don't know if I'm gonna shoot this bear. And then we were talking, and then you're like,
yeah,
hey, if you don't shoot this bear, I'm gonna shoot this.
I unfortunately didn't bring my bow, because I was being the cameraman, and we weren't sure on what we were gonna see. And though coming up on 2 high quality bears on the barrel,
on the same bait,
kind of made us wish that we would have, but it is what it is. But yeah, when he came in, I knew he was very, very much around the quality of the bear that I got on my first trip up there. So, but he came in like he owned the place, and the barrel. I think he cleaned that whole thing out, and then
he's in there for a minute.
Yeah. And he started, after he cleaned that out, he started going down to the oil, because what they use is they have the oil grease, and bears just love it. They just eat it up. They'll even eat the dirt, as you see in the video. They made this huge hole under this tree, just from, what did he say? Perry said from maybe the month that bait's been there. They just dig it down, and then
that hole was not there.
That hole was not there. They dug it that deep, and that was pretty deep.
And some of the bears fit in that hole.
Yeah, and that was the real cool thing about Matt's bear when he came up, because we had that other bear in there. Is he pretty much fit in the hole.
Yeah.
And then Matt's bear comes up, and it's like, that bear doesn't fit in that hole. So
when you look back at it, yeah. But in the beginning, that's not something I was thinking about.
Well,
until we look back at the footage, and you're like, yeah, and I was like, yeah.
Yeah, no, really seeing the difference after we were looking it back, it was crazy. And then we get to the best part here is, what was your feeling after you let that arrow go?
Well, first I was sitting there for it seemed like ever, and I kid you not, my heart was. I've been in interesting situations, and my heart was probably the fastest and the hardest I've felt it pound.
Yep.
It's so stupid. I don't know why, but it's whatever. But I was sitting there, I was like, "Come on, stand up!" And he was taking forever, and then eventually he moved and got into that oil like you were talking about, and he was like somewhat angled, and that's when I was like, "Hey, I think I can fit a shot in here," and you're like, no. And so I was getting a little impatient, because he was sitting at that barrel 20, close to 30 minutes. Obviously, you're not going to see that whole 30 minutes, but he was sitting there for a while. And kind of angled himself, and then he moved a little more, and then he ended up, standing up, and I pulled back, and didn't take very long. It was a pretty quick shot, but I tend to, once I have it where I want it, I pull the trigger. I don't really fixate too much on it or think too much on it. And so I pulled it back, let it go, and saw the arrow. Arrow disappeared. Saw arrow straight through, passed through, hit the ground, and he ran off. One cool thing he pointed out,
Well,
which
he didn't really run off.
Oh yeah, he kind of
he took like
he jumped.
5.
He like did the whole hunch thing, and then a little brisk jog type thing, and then he walked off, and then 20 yards, 30 yards,
30 yards, yeah.
and we could still see him from the stand. Video, you can kind of see him, and he kind of just lays down, and he didn't do the death moan or anything, but it's so quiet out there that like you could just hear his breath, just like his like the heavy breaths, yeah, and he didn't go far, didn't take long. It was
Clean, ethical
clean,
shot.
yeah, exactly what you want. Find out double lung heart, so it's kind of what you want.
Insane.
And yeah, it was kind of the cool thing too. You noticed, which I didn't notice. I don't know if it's a normal thing, but the tail is. If you watch in the video, his tail stuck straight out after he was shot and like never went back down. It was weird. It was kind of bizarre, but
yeah, I
interesting.
know.
I don't know if that's
yeah, I don't know. I know whitetails like they'll do stuff with their tails. I don't know if there's anything
correlation
on
to it
bears.
or not. But
I guess I'll have to do some research on that.
I thought that was super weird. Like after looking back, I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh, that's weird." But
Yeah, I thought that was I think he was just done walking, and then yeah, for him to pile up like that, and then after that, I mean, how many more bears did we see come in?
that's also too like I was obviously excited and I was like happy, but with the amount of bears we were seeing and hoping, like I looked back and I saw a big bear in the back too, and I was like, "Hey, like let's switch and get ready if you're comfortable."
And Matt's a little bit taller than me, and he's got longer arms, so his draw length is not super comfortable for me. So we erred on the side of not shooting. We tried to get a hold of Perry. How long?
It was a while. I mean, it was probably as long as we sat in the stand. So
was it 2 hours?
Yeah, because it was about 8:30, I think.
Yeah, and the thing is there's no reception up there, and then the radios only work for so far, and I mean I would assume they only work maybe 12 kilometers in distance, and we're 17 back, and he's obviously got other baits and stuff. When he drops us off, he goes and does other things and all that. So yeah, but waiting there, reminiscing, all the other bears coming in and out, and then we got a hold of, who did we get a hold of? Darlene.
Yeah, for whatever reason, all my texts.
I think she was just in a good spot.
Yeah,
I think she was where Perry's out in the bush doing baiting and stuff, and he's probably not in the best area. So, yeah, it was crazy. Just the just that whole experience, and then Perry showed up, and
and I let you two walk up to it first because I was still scared.
And that was awesome. And then getting to see that bear that close, I know some people would say there's some ground shrinkage, like with anything like whitetails and stuff like that. We grew up and we're from Michigan and still live in Michigan and grew up in Michigan. We don't have big whitetails here, but some of your whitetails that you think are bigger than what they are, they tend to shrink a little bit sometimes. They're still really great deer, but it's everything kind of looks smaller on the ground, and that bear had no shrinkage to me at all.
No, I love his face.
What was really cool about his face was his scar.
Yeah, he had a couple scars on him too.
Yeah, you'd been fighting. They're getting close to the rut, which starts towards the end of May, beginning of June, and then boars start to establish their territory, in which Matt's bear was a boar. Yeah. So he was maybe running that area, or at least somebody was smacking him around, and they was fighting for sure. But yeah, what was your experience now? What did you think when you had to try to move him around and stuff? How heavy you was?
Like, he was heavy, obviously. Had use both arms, hold him up, his head, his neck, which we got some nice pictures of.
Oh yeah, some great pictures, and we'll do some snippets of those.
I know why we did what we did, but we're gonna move the bear to field dress him somewhere else because it was the first day. We were still trying to use the bait to stand or whatever, and that kind of stuff. So, our plan was to put them back side by side, and then us three guys tried to pick him up, and it did not work.
Because
so,
how heavy was he?
He was over 400, right?
Yeah. He's just over 400, and he was every bit of that, and just he wintered super well too. Just he had good fat on him, and just great coat. He no rub spots,
straight black, full coat.
Yeah, straight back. Which he was bummed about because one of the bears that showed up, one of the last bears, was a sow, and she had a chevron V on her. And he's like, "Oh, I really like that chevron."
I just think it's cool.
Oh, it is. It's cool. Most to get a bear that's jet black is not super common. I mean, I say that, but then we shot how many bears that were jet black up there? We had yours, Rogers, and
no, Rogers had.
Did Rogers?
He had a
oh
chevron,
yeah, he did have a chevron.
It was me, Marty,
you, Marty, and
I think
was
Kelly didn't.
Kelly's, did his have a chevron?
I think
so
his
too.
Was
Who?
It was
Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on his
Tim.
Tim.
Yes, Tim.
Tim. Yep.
Which
Tim.
we tried to help track, but
yes, and we'll put that on here. It's gonna be really crappy footage. I'll be honest, because it was so dark
in the night, and we were pushing into stuff, and then we decided no.
Yeah, I mean, we couldn't see like 10 yards in front of us in the bush, and tracking. Yeah, in that situation, we were tracking a wounded bear, but we'll get to that. Some process, and then also too, rendering down some bear fats and making some bear grease. I'm super excited.
I've never had it, so
yeah. I mean, there's
nothing
so
I
many.
recall. I mean, Mom made some stuff, but I don't know if that was.
I don't think, because our dad,
that was before we really.
Yeah, when we were really first getting into hunting, like when I was like 12, I think.
Oh yeah.
He got his first black bear up in northern Michigan, and
he's in Michigan.
He shot that in Michigan. That's a good Michigan bear too that he got. That was a good bear. Like obviously, when you want to go shoot big Bruins, and you want to see a lot of bears, you go to northern Saskatchewan. That's the best place to go, in my opinion. It's just amazing. And then we got back to camp. Darlene had dinner all ready for us
every single night, no matter the time.
Yep.
Nice.
What time did we get back? Was it midnight?
It was just over.
Yeah, it was just over. That's the thing, is you are getting back and getting in. That's probably the hardest thing is
you're there to hunt.
You're there to hunt though, is getting in so late and eating, but it's good camaraderie and all that, and getting to talk to everybody. But yeah, it was your first bear hunt, 2 hours in the stand and 30 hours of driving.
Yeah. It definitely doesn't seem right, I guess, compared to what I'm accustomed to, at least. But I mean, it's hunting. I mean, sometimes that happens, and like talking to Perry, some people come up there and like there's plenty of bears, but they're just picky, or they don't end up, or they think it's not a shooter, and then they look at pictures and photos and they're like, why did you not shoot that? And like Tim's a great example, where the guy we helped track he's like, oh, I think it was a 250-pound bear, and we helped track, and then we didn't find it, and then we took off the next morning because we had some stuff we need to get back for. But they ended up finding him, and they sent me a picture, and it was a 500-pound bear. Like, they're just so hard to judge, and if you don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, and as you'll see later on here is with my bear is judging bears is hard. It's not easy to do, and it takes many years and seeing a lot of bears, frankly. And I haven't seen that many bears, to be honest. I've gotten 2, but it's still really hard to judge them.
It's not like you see them every day.
Yeah, it's not like we see them every day. Though it is interesting. We did have that one in the area, literally.
He's 5 miles from here.
I know.
He's on Jade.
We're not a very bear dense area. Only predators we really have to worry about down here are coyotes, but we're not even worried about them. They're more worried about them on our deer population, but but yeah, it was. How would you rate it? Would you rate your 2 hours in the stand?
I mean, like I said, when
Yeah.
you were hunting and I was on the camera, I was like, "This is stupid," and you're like, "What's stupid?" And I was like, I want to shoot another bear," and you're like, "What do you mean I'm about to shoot a bear?" And I was like, "No, I want to shoot another bear."
Yeah.
And so, yeah, definitely awesome, great experience. I wish it was something more realistic to do all the time, but definitely plan on doing it. Obviously more.
Yeah.
And hopefully with, like I said, the guys were awesome that we ended up meeting up there, but like a whole group of people we know would be fun just because even if someone gets lucky tag out, like you're more willing to want to like stay out there, drink, hang out, like
just have. I mean, it's a good time up there. I mean, it's just a great time, and we'll get into that a little bit later here after we were done hunting, and then I'll transfer over the host hat to Matt, and then I will be the co-host now and be the interviewee.
Yeah. So to start with, the funny thing is, the bear Mike got was the big ass bear.
It was,
as we talked about earlier in the video, and that's the bear that I wanted. And right the moment I saw it run away, I was like, "This is the bear I want." And so that's why I was hesitant on the bear I ended up shooting, which I'm still happy with.
No,
obviously. After you shot the whole time, I was sitting there. I was like, I'm jealous. I'm like, I wanted that. Overall, it was awesome, but I still like watching your bear walk in though. Like,
oh yeah,
that
absolutely huge. I mean, that belly and that sag, just that's
the confidence. Like, chased off a smaller bear too.
Yeah, that was another thing because you guys will see in the video is that first bear that came in was paranoid, just kept looking.
Looking
and just staring.
And it wasn't just that short time frame. The whole time he was at the barrel, he was looking at something. She was there for a minute watching.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then I've ended up harvesting a sow, which was a first for me. My first bear was a boar. So, but the way she came in, I thought she was a boar. So I had no issues there. She was dry, no cubs, and she was old. Her teeth were worn down, and she was just,
what they say, almost 20.
Yeah,
around 20.
Yeah, so she was up there in age, and her coat is just amazing, just super thick. You'll see in the video, just lose your hand in it, just gorgeous. She had a little bit of a patch,
which we
white
didn't notice,
patch.
I don't think, until you walked up on it. Right?
No, I noticed her when she walked up. She had the white patch right here.
Okay.
Yeah, so I did notice that when she walked up. I don't think she's the same bear that we saw, because I looked back at the footage and was doing some body comparisons to see if it was that last bear that came in, had that sow that had the chevron beauty, but I don't think so. The size difference. Yeah.
I didn't see that on anyone else. And that ass, I didn't see on anything else other than when we first showed up.
Yeah. Yeah, and Perry had an excellent descriptor of her, and we'll see if he even said it in the video, but she was roly-poly. She was very round. So I was very excited. We got out there. What time did we get out? Was it 1-ish?
Yeah, it was earlier.
Yeah, we got out earlier, obviously. We woke up, had breakfast with everybody. Then everybody started heading out. We wanted to get out there a little bit earlier than normal, just because last time when I came up, we helped do some baiting and stuff like that, and we were getting some bears on camera, on the trail cameras, before around like noonish or so, and there were some really nice bears, so we thought that we'd give it a try, and then that's what we did. So it was pretty cool though.
And we were, how long in the stand for you?
4 hours.
Yeah,
so
a little bit longer.
A little bit longer. I didn't have to wait nearly as long as Matt did for a shot opportunity. It was about 6 minutes ish coming in. So she came in, ate a little bit, but she was real skittish. So I think
The whole time.
yeah, she knew.
I like that night, or I shot mine and I saw the one in the back.
Yeah,
I think that was her.
No, you're fairly confident that was her back there. Yeah,
Which I didn't know was her, but
yeah.
Just the face.
Oh yeah,
and then
her eyebrows.
I knew, and I was like, "That's that bear." And then, but she never came back in. Like
No,
the rest
she
of the bear,
left.
she knew something was up. After I shot, and some of the other bears, I just didn't care. Luckily, none of them found interest in mine.
Yeah, yep. None of them were trying to have a little snack.
But yeah, she was skittish the whole time. From even walking out. I mean, she walked out kind of confident, but she stayed in the wood line for a second.
Yeah, trying to get a hang of those rounds. The wind was a little bit better for us though the second day than the first day, because it was really, at first it was really good, and then it was just like swirling around, and then the wind was coming across us from the left to the right the second day, which worked out really well. But yeah, it was awesome. I mean, it was great. Yeah, she walked up, she laid down kind of laid down, I guess. She ate for a bit, and then turn left, turn right, and then I knew she was gonna be leaving, so I took a quicker shot, and she just huffed off full tilt, just dead sprints. Shot is not nearly good as Matt's shot, but I didn't think it was that bad, to be honest.
Still not a cool shot.
Yeah, it worked. I mean, double lung, for sure. But thing that got me nervous, and she went about 200 yards on double lung. She,
like Perry said, though, I think she was dead running.
Yeah,
for a bit there.
Oh yeah, and what's cool. She was like this piled up.
Yeah, it wasn't a lay down type situation. She was dead when she was running.
No, yeah, she ended up, and she was, when we found her, because we ended up waiting 2 more hours.
Trying to get
a hold of her again. But fortunately we had the tricks and everything to get a hold of him, get a hold of Darlene, which I think was the same way that got a hold of him again.
Turn the phone off, turn it back on, it catches some service, and then you send a message to Darlene.
Yeah. And then she messages his wife, and she calls him on the satellite phone. So it worked out well. And then so yeah, when we started tracking, I was getting a little nervous. Lack of blood, but bears themselves don't bleed very well. That's why it's everything that I've read and seen in outdoor media with bears is you really want that pass through, because just the fat, the fur, it just slides down and blocks out any sort of hole that you create, especially bow hunting. So that was good. I got that pass through there, and then we saw her go off towards, because we were hunting on the edge of a beaver pond. Which was really cool. Yeah, we could hear the water and everything like that. And then we started following the edge of that, and I was confident in the shot at first. Then we watched the video, and I'm like, I'm not sure on the shot. And then I'm like, no, that's got a closer look at it on the camera. Slowed it down a little bit more. It turned out, I didn't think it was actually that bad of a shot. So that's why I was concerned how far she was going. And then I saw her cut back, and she cut back to the right. Yeah, but Matt caught it on camera, so there's video evidence that I'm not crazy. And the more I watch that video, as she is stumbling, falling down too. She's snow plowing almost. Then we started. She was heading towards a jack pine swamp, right? Something like that. She was heading to a swamp, essentially, really thick,
just
mossy, wet.
Into.
Yeah.
Kind of cool though.
So we kind of started circling, because we weren't finding much blood, but I think that was mostly due to her hide and her fur being so dense. It just soaked everything up. Yeah, and yeah, I mean,
they did everything right, got that pass through.
yeah,
You know, that's all you can really hope for. But
oh yeah,
she definitely she's tough, that's for sure. I mean,
yeah.
I think those scars from mine are from her. So
Yeah, it could be, it could be. And then yeah, with that, and then we were searching. You'll see the video. I'm scanning into the swamp a little bit, and yeah, I see her laying there. At that point, we thought it was a boar, so in the video might hear me reference to him a lot, but we didn't know that until we got up there. But yeah, and then yeah, she was piled up in there, and we were pretty much done with that area, and they weren't baiting anymore there, and nobody else was going to hunt there. So we just caped her out and cut her up there out in the bush. So that was pretty cool. And then she had some really good fat on her. I was excited about that because that was the one thing I really wanted is good bear with a lot of fat. Some of them obviously don't have it in the springtime because they've used it all in the winter. But yeah, she's beautiful. Love her eyebrows that she has, just thick coat. So it was amazing. It was a really great experience. And then just where was I?
we were caping her out.
Yeah, caped her out. And we were done by 8 o'clock, right?
Yeah, it was still light out.
Yeah, it was nice. So that was perfect. Perfect. We could get back to the camp and have a celebratory drink and wait for the other guys to show up and see how their nights were and if they were successful. And then yeah, have some good food, and which it was a pretty successful night. Kelly got his bear.
Yeah.
And then Marty, they were part of the group together, the three hunters. He got a really nice bear that night. It was awesome. I'm glad they got it, especially Marty. The first night didn't see anything, which is crazy. When actually we went back to the bait he was sitting at, and it hadn't been touched. So that's props to Perry and them making that move. That's understanding that something's not right, because that bait went cold. They said it was getting hit really hard. There was actually blonde fur there, so there was a color phase hitting there, which we'll get to that too, color phases. But it was good. He sat there one night and said, I didn't see anything. And they're like, all right, we're going to put you somewhere else where we know there's bears hitting it regularly. But that bait was getting hit like crazy before then. So I don't know what happened. And then, but yeah, and then he got first sit in that new stand, and he has that really big bear come out. His was, I think it was around 450-ish, something like that. It was big. He was a big head on him too. It looked like his ear was messed up too from fighting, which was really cool, and had healed, so an old injury. But yeah, he's really cool. And I think Kelly got a sow. I'm not sure how big.
I believe so.
I'm not sure. Seemed like a decent bear. Yeah. Pretty average quality bear that anybody'd be happy with to take home. And then yeah, there was then the rest of our trip.
Yeah, kind of hung out, spent they let us bait.
Yeah.
Follow around, and then
we didn't do any actual baiting.
Yeah, we didn't end up, but I mean, the thought was there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it was more of going out, helping get the other guys situated in their stands, and then
yeah, and we'll have some video of that. It's just going to be random video. It won't be very storybooky or anything like that.
Yeah,
because
I don't know if maybe we'll do like a bonus video or something of
just the guys.
A wrap up of the trip, and then we'll put all the bears in there and the photos and videos we got, and maybe just focus on ours for this one.
Oh yeah, that's fine.
But yeah, overall, I think everyone.
Yeah, I mean,
was happy.
Yeah. I mean, tagged out on Wednesday, right?
Yeah,
Wednesday.
a 7-day trip, and everyone was
Done
tagged
about,
out before the rain.
Yeah, before the rain, and it actually stayed really nice. I think we left. I think it did rain when we left.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was beautiful up there. We had great weather. Wasn't too windy. Wasn't too cold. I mean, the nights got pretty cold, but it wasn't bad. We had good heat in the campers, so I mean, it was. We didn't have too much of a issue with that.
Yeah, I'm glad that first night when we got there and we just rushed out. I just had my long sleeve first light like undergarment thing because I was like, it's hot out.
Yeah, first light.
And then glad it didn't get too. I mean, it got colder.
It got cold
by like, but that
by
was
the end
like
when we were done
midnight
sketching.
when we were like doing all that.
Yeah.
But like, that was probably the warmest day. And I'm glad it was because
I couldn't believe
not dressed for.
Yeah, when we were sitting out in the stand for the next day for me, it was cold. It was chilly. But yeah, I mean, definitely glad we packed on a little bit more layers.
Yeah,
that kept us warm. But yeah, the rest of the trip we kind of hung out with Perry for a day. Got the other guys situated. Roger, he was by himself. He got his bear. He was in the stand for 3 minutes.
Yeah, made quick work of that.
Yeah, Dylan, his guide, who was the other guide up there, Dylan was got him into the stand, started baiting, walking towards the bait, and he got woof. You heard this woof sound, and he was like, didn't know where it comes from, and then he saw about 10 yards maybe into the brush. There's this black bear just laying there just staring at him in the bush, and yeah, he's like, I want to kind of bait a little bit, and then he got out of there, and then
before he even got to the road, I think.
Yeah, before he got to the road, Roger shot that bear, and that was a nice boar too. Yeah. He was fighting too. Chevron B. Yeah. Really nice bear. And then we helped get that all situated with that. Got pictures and stuff with that, which turned out nice. And then kind of shot the shit, ate some food. Yep. At that point, we were itching to hear a message from Tim.
Yeah.
Really hoping.
That's when we went on that little walk too.
Yeah. Yep. That was really nice. I wouldn't stray much further than what we did from the side by side, but we ended up going to right outside the bait area. Not right. Yeah. I mean, to where we turn off the logging road to the quad trail, essentially, where it leads back to this beaver pond, and it's still ways in there. And we started walking around, found the wolf tracks.
I started with the wolf tracks.
Yeah.
And then you found more.
Yeah, more wolf tracks. Yeah. And there was a pack there, and there looked like there are some pup tracks too, at least some decent. They weren't small, but they were definitely smaller. So that was
just huge.
Yeah, that one track, that's an alpha male right there. And the crazy thing is, when we got further down the logging road, is there was a bit of a puddle, not where a puddle was, and the ground was really soft, and it had fresh, like very fresh wolf tracks. Like,
it's hard to explain, but
yeah, like when you see a fresh deer track and you look at that and go, that's very fresh. It's just nothing's in it. It's not battered down or anything like that. It's fresh. Like, the dirt is like where their claws came up. It's freshly torn up. It's like right now. And I went a little further than you guys.
We're just
chilling on top of the hill. I was getting some pictures and stuff like that, and heard some noises, and I was like, I'm gonna go back.
He started moving pretty quick, and Perry and I were like, think you heard something?
Yeah, I was hearing something in the bush, and then the thing that got real eerie is all the frogs stopped.
Yeah, that's true.
The frogs stopped, and I was like, that's unnerving. And the reason why that's unnerving in the bush is first time I went up there, I went up with along with my dad and my grandpa, and I went up with my cousin Brian and Melanie, and I actually got to sit with Melanie. And I do have a little bit of footage of that. We'll see. We might incorporate that somewhere as well. And the one thing we noticed, I noticed when me and Melanie were kind of talking, and we could hear the like little squirrels running around and the birds. And then before her bear showed up, I was like, it's got super quiet. And then she turned around and her bear's like 10 yards behind us. They're so quiet, but we're used to hunting ungulates with their hooves, and they snap and step on twigs and they make noise. But bears, they got those pads and they're just soft. And that's one thing about yours, bear. Your pads were really nice, not worn down. Comparing to mine, she was beat up. Her pads were really worn down. But yours were almost velvety soft. Not as velvety soft, though, as Melanie's. Those were, like, super soft. It was crazy. But we were doing that, and then shortly after 9, I think we finally got a hold of Tim, and he said he shot quarter till. But we were back at the truck at that point, so we wouldn't have heard we were listening to the game. And then we made it out, and then he got a hold of him, and then we started tracking, and not been too nervous. Probably the most nervous I've been in the woods, even though there was 4 of us. Tracking a bear in the dark with not good flashlights is not a good idea. Phone flashlights, yeah. So, but it was pretty cool. Tons of blood. It's crazy how far. Like, we didn't end up knowing how far he went, but the amount of blood that we saw compared to mine was like, my bear is like, this bear's got to be right there.
Well, he used a gun too.
Yeah, he was using was it a 450 Bushmaster 450 Bud Home. So yeah, it was. How would you rate the trip for yourself? I don't know, whatever scale you want to use. 5 out of 5 stars. 5 stars. 5 2 thumbs up.
Yeah. Definitely would want to do it again.
Oh yeah.
Well, and plan to, obviously, but I know, an awesome experience. I feel like there is some bias though of the place we went to for me now, that I don't want to go anywhere else.
Yeah,
they were awesome.
As Matt will attest, that when I talk about my bear hunt, my first time I went, I talk about how amazing it was up there. And did my talking about it, the expectations I set for you, did it meet or exceed your expectations?
I would say it succeeded it.
But I set the bar very high.
Yeah, you did. The issue, like I was saying, I just couldn't find too much, but it's like that we said, a family-run thing, so they don't necessarily. I mean, and COVID, so, but just trying to research and look up and do more stuff, but word of mouth definitely.
Oh yeah,
like big, and so I was a little nervous, but we got up there and things got going. Did not expect to see the size or the quality, especially like leading up to it. I was like, like 300, 350, I'll be happy or whatever.
Yeah, I'm really happy.
And that obviously didn't happen. I shot something bigger, but it was awesome. I don't think anything will ever replace that. Like I was describing that feeling when I pulled up. Like, so hard to describe. But
oh yeah,
it wasn't even the shooting. It was seeing them there, and it was like, wow, this is real.
Yeah. I mean, as just growing up, being a kid, just hunting whitetails and small game. I mean, it's a different world up there.
It's crazy, but yeah, no, I would 5 would do again. Want to do again.
Yeah, we'll do again. Hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it was it's quite the it's an amazing experience. Arlie and all of his guys and Darlene and everybody does a fantastic job. Feels like family, really. It really does.
There's no awkward phase, honestly.
No,
like,
yeah,
you just
they're
get,
just kind of get right into it and just like, yep. So that was the one thing I really
or
liked.
Feeling out phase, I guess.
Yeah, trying to feel people out, but no, they're pretty much start to be family as soon as things get going. Yeah, it was. I can't wait to do it again. Hopefully next time we'll get Dad up there. It sounds like again, and Brian has talked about it too as well. I've talked to him. He says he wants to go up, so he's going to talk to Richard. Richard expressed interest too, so maybe we'll get all of them up there. So if that's the case, at least I'll be cameraman for a while, trying to get as much as we can. That'll be quite amazing. Any other final thoughts, wrapping up points?
As far as the trip, no, not really. It was an awesome experience. One you just kind of have to experience for yourself.
Oh yeah.
Like this video does not do justice whatsoever.
No, it will not.
And it is what it is, but it was just crazy. But I had a lot of fun. That's about it. But yeah, look forward to doing more trips and stuff like that back there. But in general, other hunting trips and stuff too. So.
Yeah. We'll definitely try to do some more hunting trips. I know both of our on our bucket list are to do some elk hunts. Yeah. So out west, that's going to be a huge learning experience and pretty steep learning curve from what I've seen and watched. So, but it'll be cool to learn it and figure out how things work out there. Growing up in the Midwest and farmlands and hunting local whitetails isn't anything like going out west to hunt elk, or frankly going up to northern Saskatchewan and hunting some big black bears. Yeah. So
that's for sure.
So so I guess we'll wrap it up here. If you like everything that you see or enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. Again, we're fairly new. The more likes and subscribes get helps us out, and the more we get that, the more we can do. And any little bit helps. Comment down below on what your first big game hunt was, whether it was out in the family farm hunting whitetails, or maybe you're fortunate to do black bear or elk or moose, or go somewhere in Africa and hunt some of the game out there. But comment below. This is Mike from Dayton Outdoors, and signing out.